Good morning, YouTube. This is Cornwallis, and I'm doing a video about whether or not UK has to do the Trent rate, or if there are any valid alternatives which don't lose you the game as UK on the second turn. So my team and I, we have conceived some moves the UK can do to preserve its fleet, but don't lose London the second turn or Cairo the second turn. Okay, so as you can see, I only placed the UK units that survived in our games on the first turn, and the Italian and German units that pose a threat to our plan. Okay, so of course the buys we're gonna do and the moves you're gonna make are of course dependent on what the Germans buy their first turn. Okay, most of our players, they buy all land units on the first turn. If the Germans buy the sea line fleet, which is 2 transports and a carrier, of course this will change the plans, and you can of course always buy the regular 6 infantry and a fighter. But in all, the plans don't change that much if Germany is buying the sea line fleet. Okay, so as you can see, the Germans took out our fleet in sea zone 1-6 but got destroyed in turn. They took out our cruiser here. They took out the entire UK fleet in 111 and 110. As you can see, UK did not scramble, and Germany is left with a damaged battleship. Okay, so what we're gonna do now is we're gonna take out the Italian fleet around Malta with the fighter and the tactical bomber. We're gonna take out the submarine here, and we're gonna take out the German battleship here. Voilà. Right, that's all of the combat moves we're gonna do. So let's say Italy got lucky and they hit with the destroyer, taking out the fighter. We will take it out. I presume you can even put a fighter as reinforcements. Take this one out. Voilà. And we take out the battleship, and once again the Germans got lucky and they hit a fighter. Now, as non-combat moves, we're gonna put everything around Gibraltar. So we take our carrier here, we put the destroyer as a blocker in 94, we take the cruiser, we put it here. The fighters are gonna land in Algeria. So this fighter here, we put on the carrier, like this. The bomber goes in Algeria. The fighters here, they can fly. They flew 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll put them in Algeria. The transport here, actually it doesn't matter what you take, just take 2 units. For example, you can take 1 AA gun and an infantry, or you can take the mechanized and an infantry if, for example, you didn't lose a fighter here. With this transport, we're going to take Iran. So we take an artillery piece to Iran, and we put the guy on. Other movements here, we're going to put everything together. We're going to retreat into Alexandria. Why is that? If Italy decides to go for Cairo, they have 4 units to land because they have the 2 transports left and a bomber, but they also have 2 or 3 bombardments. So with all this stacked in Cairo, normally they shouldn't be able to take it. Right? Transport, we're going to put up, and the fleet from 93 we're going to put next to Ethiopia. Right? This leaves Algeria protected. So if Italy wants to go for Algeria, this will cancel the bombard fire, and the units here will inevitably make sure they can't take Algeria. Okay. If of course Germany takes southern France, right, then of course this movement will change, and you might even consider not doing this strategy at all, or decide not to go for this one, but put the destroyer next to the fleet, or even buying your airbase on Gibraltar. We're going to put our bot units. So we're going to place a minor factory in Egypt, and the fighter and the sub. This, of course, can be changed into more land units. I'm going to put this in London. Why is that? If Germany has bought land units only, they have the cruiser and the transport to do it sea line turn 2, if they're crazy enough to do it. Then you have the submarine for the combat and 2 fighters to scramble. That means they have to send more air units into 110 to be able to land. And this means that taking London on a second turn is quite hard. Okay. Of course, if Germany buys the Taranto fleet, I recommend you do a full buy on London as the 6 guys and 1 fighter. All right. The overall goal of this strategy, if Italy goes for Transjordany or for Alexandria and they put an entire fleet here, right, then you can do a counter move on turn 2 with everything you have. If they don't do it, if they take out the French fleet or they consolidate in 97 and take Greece, on the second turn, you can pull your fleets together with the Indian fleet here in 98, and you can start buying subs to start convoying Italy. Right? This is also the purpose of the sub here. Is from turn 2 you can start convoying Norway or even Normandy. All right. What we do on the Pacific side actually doesn't matter. Usually play very defensive on the Pacific side. The battleship goes to India the first turn, second turn to Somalia, and the third turn they combine with the Italian fleet. All right. Units in South Africa, they can move, and from turn 2 or 3 on, you can start buying units, eventually send to Russia. You can put your fighters here on turn 2, and on turn 3 send them to Russia to aid in the Barbarossa defense. Okay. Thank you for watching. As I say again, this is not the most perfect move. It's a solution to a Taranto move. Of course, many ups and downs, and the Axis, they play first, especially Germany, so they have an influence on whether you do this move or not, right? So don't do this move blindly. Look at what the Germans did, look at what the Germans bought, because first of all, your primary goal is not to lose London, all right? As I stated again, to this fleet, if London is threatened, they can go back to sea zone 110 on the second turn, and you can put the fighters from the carrier on the mainland, and those fighters can go on the carrier, okay? So actually this fleet, this movement is good for protecting London and protecting Cairo in the mid-long term. All right, thank you for watching.